Class, thank you very much for your support. We now have 30,000 subscribers. Ang pangako ko sa inyo, sa spare time ko, maghahanda ako ng mga video lessons and I'll make sure na quality lahat ng turo ko sa inyo. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's proceed to our topic for today. Standard costing and variance analysis. Standard costing and variance analysis. One of the most requested topics. And marami students, hirap na hirap sa topic na to, but I'll try my best to simplify this for you. Okay? The goal of standard costing and variance analysis is to manage and control costs. To manage and control costs. Basically, sa standard costing, i-evaluate natin na pag-gastos or nakatipid ba tayo this year? Naging efficient or inefficient ba tayo? So, yun yung mga questions na i-address natin in standard costing. In order to understand this, kailangan malaman muna natin saan ba ibig sabihin ng standard? When you say standard, it means it's the benchmark, it's the basis, or the measure. I'll give you examples. For example, meron kang midterm accounting exam. Ayan. And in order for you to pass the exam, kailangan makakuha ka ng grade na at least 75%. Yung 75% na yan, ang tawag natin dyan is standard passing grade. Okay? Let's say naman, gusto mong graduate sa BSA program na cum laude. So, kailangan yung general weighted average mo is at least 1.75. Yung 1.75 na yan, ang tawag natin dyan, standard general weighted average. Okay? Or let's say, gusto mo makauno sa accounting exam mo. Kailangan yung grade mo is at least 95 to 100 para makakuha ka ng uno. Ang tawag natin dyan is the standard grade to get 1. Okay? So, yun yung examples ng standards sa school. Ngayon, sa business, applicable din siya, especially in cost accounting. Kaya meron tayong concept na standard cost. Okay. Sir, ano ba yung standard cost na yan? Parang lagi kong naririnig na babasa yan. Pag sinabi mong standard cost, ang ibig sabihin yan, iyan yung should be cost. Iyan yung dapat na ginastos ni management. Okay? When you say standard cost, it's the should be cost. Standard cost is the best estimate of the management of what the cost should be. Okay. Best estimate of the management of what the cost should be. When you say standard cost, it's the should be cost. Okay. Sir, bakit ba important yung standard cost? Para saan ba yan? I'll give you an illustration. Let's say yung company natin nagmamanufacture ng Pinnacle ball pens. Okay? And imagine, ito yung timeline natin. This is January 1. This is December 31. All throughout the year, from January 1 to December 31, para makapag-manufacture tayo ng pens, kailangan mag-incur tayo ng tinatawag natin na manufacturing costs. And in cost accounting, alam natin, pag sinabi mong manufacturing cost, it means yun yung direct materials, direct labor, and overhead. So, kailangan natin ma-incur yung materials, labor, and overhead from January 1 to December 31 para makapag-manufacture tayo ng ball pens. By end of the year, December 31, dito natin malalaman kung ano yung total actual costs natin. And maraming gamit yung actual cost na yan. Pwedeng pag-set natin ng selling price. Pag dinivide mo yan sa number of units, makukuha mo yung unit cost. Ibig sabihin number of units, kung ilan yung na-produce natin na pen, tama? Makukuha mo yung unit cost. Yun yung magiging basis mo kung ano yung selling price mo. Ang problema dun, class, malalaman mo yung total actual cost mo sa end of the year pa. Aside sa time-consuming mag-accumulate ng costs, baka too late na yun kasi sa dulo pa ng year, malalaman mo yung unit cost mo, yung actual cost mo. Kaya, isa sa mga uses ng standard cost is to simplify the costing procedures. On January 1, nagseset na tayo dyan ng standard cost. Okay? Let's say, ang best estimate ni management para makapag-manufacture ng isang ballpen, kailangan mo mag-incur ng materials na 5 pesos labor na 3 pesos, and overhead na 2 pesos. So 5 plus 3 plus 2, you have total of 10. Okay? In order for you to manufacture a pen, kailangan mo lang mag-incur ng 10 pesos. Iyan yung standard cost natin. Iyan yung benchmark natin. If acceptable ba yung actual na may incur natin. Okay? Kaya ang tawag din sa standard cost is predetermined cost. Predetermined siya because January 1 pa lang, nagsiset na tayo ng cost. Instead na maghintay ka pa ng December 31. Okay? Again, yung standard cost, yung 10 pesos na yan, it's the cost that should have been incurred to produce 1 unit of ballpen. Yan. Kapag ang pricing natin, let's say, meron tayong 20% markup, okay? Yun yung policy ni management. So, kung may 10 ka, times 1.2, yung magiging selling price mo is 12 pesos. Sa start pa lang, alam mo na yung selling price mo. Nakatulong na agad yung costing mo para ma-determine yung selling price instead of waiting until December 31. Nakuha nyo? Okay. Now, at the end of the year, ang masusunod pa rin, syempre, yung actual cost mo. Kasi yung actual cost, iyan naman talaga yung binayaran mo. Yung standard cost, iyan lang yung best estimate natin. Iyan lang yung benchmark natin. Okay? Kaya sa end of the year, kailangan mo i-compare yung actual cost versus standard cost. Okay? So, yung standard cost natin is 10. Yung assumption natin kanina. Let's say, gawa tayo ng dalawang scenarios. Let's say, yung actual cost natin is 8 pesos. Scenario 2 natin, 12 pesos. So, class, tanongin ko kayo, ano mas maganda para sa management? 8 or 12? Yung 8, mas mababa than your standard cost. Yung 12, mas mataas than your standard cost. Ano yung better for the management? Obviously, it's the 8. Bakit, sir? Kasi pag mas mababa yung cost mo, mas mataas yung profit mo. Tama? Pag mas mataas naman yung cost mo than the standard, mas mababa yung profit mo. Pag mas mababa yung actual than the standard, ang tawag natin doon, favorable. If your actual cost is higher than your standard cost, ang tawag natin doon is unfavorable. Ang tawag natin sa comparison ng actual cost and standard cost is variance analysis. Okay? In variance analysis, basically, tatlo yung gagawin natin dyan. Number 1 is, i-compute muna natin. We compute kung ano yung variance. Okay? And then number 2, i-investigate natin. Ano ba yung reason nung na-compute natin na variance? Let's say yung price natin ng materials mas mataas. Okay? Titingnan natin, ba, mas napamahal tayo ngayon. Investigate mo. Baka naman mas napamahal ka kasi may bagong supplier. Okay? So, investigate natin yung reason. And number 3, i-address natin. Magti-take tayo ng mga corrective actions para i-correct natin yung variances. So, let's say may bago tayong supplier. Baka better mag-entertain tayo ng ibang supplier. Baka mas makamura tayo. Or, baka naman, mas mataas yung price dahil mas mataas yung quality. Maraming pwedeng reasons. But basically, in variance analysis, we compute the variance na applicable sa materials, labor, and overhead. We investigate the reason for the variance, and we address it by taking necessary corrective actions. Kaya yung variance analysis class, it's a performance evaluation tool. Para malaman natin, naging efficient ba tayo or naging inefficient ba tayo for the period. Okay, like what I said earlier, yung variances natin applicable siya sa materials, labor, and overhead, or what we call our manufacturing cost. So, tuturuan ko kayo kung paano mag-compute ng variance for these 3. And ito yung mga rare instances na i-encourage ko kayo na mag-memorize ng formulas because hindi ako actually advocate ng pag-memorize ng formulas. Gusto ko na iintindihan nyo yung procedures. Pero sa variances, wala tayong choice but to memorize the formulas. Pero syempre later, i-explain ko na rin sa inyo kung somehow bakit ganun yung formulas natin. Magsimula tayo sa materials. Mas madali kasi yung materials. Okay? So ganito yung mga formulas niyan. First, actual price times actual quantity. Alright? Standard price times actual quantity, and you have standard price times standard quantity. Yung difference ng first and second na yan, ang tawag natin dyan is materials price variance. Sir, bakit materials price variance yung tawag? Kasi, kung mapapansin nyo class, magkamukha yung quantity. Ang naiba lang yung price natin. You're comparing actual price and standard price. Kaya ang tawag natin dyan is materials price variance. Okay? Now, yung second naman, if we compare this with this one, ang tawag natin dyan is materials usage variance. Usage naman siya because same yung price, magkaiba yung quantity natin. Okay? So, determine natin kung ano yung materials na ginamit or used, okay, or nilagay dun sa production. Again, for materials, meron tayong two variances. Materials price variance and materials usage variance. Okay? Let's go to labor. Direct labor. For direct labor, para lang din siyang materials. Iba lang yung terms na gagamitin natin. Ang gagamitin natin dito is actual rate times actual hours. Next is standard rate times actual hours. Last one is standard rate times standard hours. Okay? Yung difference ng dalawa na yan, ang tawag natin is labor rate variance. Bakit, sir? Kasi parehong hours yan, magkaiba lang yung rate natin. We're comparing actual rate and standard rate. You call it labor rate variance. Okay? Difference naman ng second and ng third, ang tawag natin dyan, labor efficiency variance. Magkamukha yung rate, ang magkaiba yung hours. We're comparing actual hours and standard hours. Ngayong class, may mga ibang terms kayo na may encounter. For example, yung labor efficiency variance, minsan tinatawag siya na labor quantity variance. May mga ibang words o may mga ibang names kayong mababasa, pero they mean the same thing. Okay? Madali lang yung materials and labor. Meron lang tayong tig-dalawang variances dyan. Ang mas challenging yung overhead. Bakit, sir? Kasi sa overhead, meron tayong tinatawag na one-way, two-way, three-way, and four-way overhead variance analysis. So, parang ang dami mong i-memorize. Pero, ang technique dito, class, is, ang kailangan mo lang tandaan dyan is the four-way. Yung one-way, two-way, and three-way, kahit hindi mo na tandaan yan, i-extract natin yan from our four-way overhead variance analysis. Okay, so listen very carefully. Ito yung technique dyan. Okay, so, ito yung una mong gagawin. Lagay mo yung actual, BAA, bash, and standard. Explain ko later. Okay? Actual, BAA, bash, and standard. And then, ihiwalay natin yung variable component and fixed component. Okay? Variable and fixed component. Okay. Actual, BAA, bash, standard. Kung mapansin nyo, class, actual to, yung pinakataas, yung pinakababa, ang tawag natin, standard. Parang ganoon din sa materials. Parehong actual, standard dito. Actual dito, standard dito. So, parang may pattern. Okay? So, dumaan tayo sa actual. Actual variable rate times actual hours plus actual fixed rate times actual hours. So, lahat yan, actual. Nakuha nyo, class? O, doon naman tayo sa standard. Tuturuan ko kung paano yung madali siyang matandaan. Sa standard naman, standard variable rate times standard hours plus standard fixed rate times standard hours. Puro actual, puro standard. Okay? When you say BAA, ibig sabihin lang yan, budgeted at actual hours. Pag sinabi mong bash, budgeted at standard hours. Since budgeted siya, ilagay mo na agad dito, budgeted fixed cost. Since budgeted siya, lagay mo na dito, budgeted fixed cost. Okay? And since actual hours yan, or AH yan, lagay mo na dyan, actual hours. Since SH yan, lagay mo na dyan, SH, standard hours. Ito na lang. Tama? Kung mapapansin nyo, class, sa materials and labor, ang second row natin, standard yung ginagamit natin. Standard, standard. Ibig sabihin, sa overhead, standard din yung gagamitin natin. Standard variable rate, standard variable rate. Nakuha nyo, class. So, ulitin ko. So, ang una mo gagawin, lagay mo na agad yung actual BAA bash standard. Nilalagay mo yan para meron kang pattern. Okay? And then, lagay mo yung variable component and fixed component. Hiniwalay natin. Ito yung variable, ito yung fixed. Una natin ginawa, nilagay muna natin lahat ng actual variable rate times actual hours, actual fixed rate times actual hours. And then, nilagay din natin yung standard dito, standard variable rate times standard hours, plus standard fixed rate times standard hours. And since budgeted yan, lagay mo na agad budgeted fixed cost. Since AH yan, copy mo lang, SH copy, Yung second and third column, gawin mong standard variable rate. Okay? Yung difference ng dalawa na to, ang tawag natin dyan, spending variance. Okay? Ang difference ng dalawa na yan, ang tawag natin dyan is efficiency variance. Difference between the third and the fourth row, ang tawag natin dyan, volume variance. 1, 2, and 3, that's what you call three-way overhead analysis. Yung spending, pwede nating i-breakdown siya into two. This one, and this one. Ang tawag dyan sa difference nito and this one, alam natin yung variable component, ang tawag natin dyan is variable spending variance. Ito naman, alam natin, fixed component yan. Ang tawag natin dyan, fixed spending. Okay? 1, 2, 3, and 4, ang tawag natin dyan, four-way overhead variance analysis. The difference between the first row and the third row, ang tawag natin, controllable variance. Difference between third row and fourth row, ang tawag natin dyan, uncontrollable variance. Controllable 1, uncontrollable 2, we call it two-way overhead variance analysis. If we compare yung first row and the last row, ang tawag natin dyan, total overhead variance analysis. Isa lang yan, ang tawag natin is one-way overhead analysis. Nakuha nyo, class? So, alam lang natin is the four-way, and then from there, in-extract natin yung three-way, two-way, and one-way. Okay? So, kailangan ma-memorize nyo siya by heart. Okay? Pero, pinakita ko sa inyo ano yung pattern para mas madaling i-memorize yung overhead analysis. Alright? So, para mas ma-appreciate nyo siya, i-apply natin siya dun sa exercises that I prepared for you. Last, if you appreciate this free accounting tutorial, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you get notified whenever I have a new video. Okay, so let's go to our handouts for today. I prepared problems and theories for you. Okay, mag-start muna tayo sa problems. Let's go to problem 1. Problem 1 is about direct materials and direct labor variance. Okay, let's go to the requirements. Compute the following. Number 1, material price variance. Number 2, material usage variance. Number 3, labor rate variance. And number 4, labor efficiency variance. So, ganito yung technique, class, ha. Sa start pa lang, ilalagay mo na agad yung formula. For example, may exam ka sa school mo about variance analysis, or let's say sa actual board exam, yung MAS, ang gagawin mo una, sa first page pa lang, sulat mo na agad yung formulas para hindi mo makalimutan. Since ako, kabisado ko yung formulas, madali ko lang siya malalagay. For example, materials muna tayo. Actual price times actual quantity, standard price times actual quantity, standard price times standard quantity. Okay, yan agad yung unang gagawin. Yan yung first step natin. And then second step is, syempre, basahin na natin yung given. The following information is available for Mr. Accounting Company. Standards material, 3 feet per unit at 4.2 pesos per foot. Labor, 2.5 hours per unit at 7.5 pesos per hour. Actual, we have standards, we have actual. Production, 2,750 units produced during the month. So ito yung actual na na-produce natin, 2,750 units. Material, 8,700 feet purchased and used at 4.5 pesos per foot. Labor, 7,000 direct labor hours at 7.9 pesos per hour. Okay. Which, syempre, mag-focus muna tayo sa materials. Okay? Materials muna. Now, sundan na natin yung formula. Actual price times actual quantity. Nasaan yung actual price dyan? Tingin ka dun sa actual na given. So, actual, sa materials, yung price natin is 4.5. 4.5 times actual quantity natin is 8,700. Tama? Yun yung talagang binili natin. 8,700. Okay? Standard price times actual quantity yung next. Standard price natin, class, is 4.2 per foot. Tama? Material, 3 feet per unit, 4.2 per foot. So, 4.2 times actual quantity, syempre, same lang yan, 8,700. So, lalagay ko muna lahat ng numbers yan bago ko i-compute yung variances. Okay, and then last row natin, standard price, syempre, copy ko lang to, 4.2 times standard quantity. Okay, so class, take note sa standard quantity, ha. Yung standard quantity is based on actual output. Tandaan yan, marami nagkakamali dito sa standard quantity. Standard quantity is based on actual output. So, explain ko sa inyo. How much class dito yung na-produce talaga natin? 2,750 units. Okay? And kailangan natin ng 3 feet per unit para makapag-produce ng isang unit. Yun yung standard natin, 3 feet per unit. And ang na-produce natin is 2,750 units. Kaya ang gagawin mo dyan, para makompute mo yung standard quantity, actual output, 2,750, multiply mo by 3 feet per unit. Okay? 3 feet per unit. Sige, so let's compute. So get your calculators. Compute tayo. Okay, so 4.5 times 87. 4.5 times 87, we got 39,150. Okay, so 39,150. Okay, next. 4.2 times 87. 4.2 times 87, we have 36,540. 36,540. Okay, and then this one naman, 2,750 times 3 times 4.2. Tignan natin. 2,750 times 3 times 4.2, we have 34,650. 34,650. Okay, so compare lang natin yan. Compare natin siya. Compare natin yan. 39,150 minus 36,540. Okay, 39,150 minus 36,540. Okay, we got 2,610. 2,610. Okay. 36,540 minus 34,650. 36,540 minus 34,650. We have 1,890. Okay, so this is 1,890. Okay, so madaling compute yan. Minsan nagkakamali pa yung students kung favorable or unfavorable. So, paano natin malalaman kung favorable or unfavorable? Take note, class, na yung first row natin, actual yan. Tama? Ito naman, standard. And as I said earlier, mas gusto natin yung actual cost natin mas mababa than standard. Ibig sabihin, nakatipid tayo. Tama? So, ibig sabihin, class, whenever mas mataas yung actual than standard, unfavorable yun. Pag mas mababa yung actual than standard, favorable yun. This one, mas mataas to than this one, unfavorable. Mas mataas to than this one, unfavorable. Answer for material price variance, ito siya, 2,610, unfavorable. 2,610, unfavorable. Material usage variance, 1,890, unfavorable. Nakuha nyo, class. Okay, so ganun siya kasimple. Let's go to direct labor, DL. Susulat ko na agad yung formula. Actual rate times actual hours. Standard rate times actual hours. Standard rate times standard hours. Nasaan yung actual rate natin? Ito. 7.9. Actual hours natin, 7,000. 7.9 times 7,000. Ano yung standard rate natin? Standard rate natin is 7.5 per hour. Okay? 7.5 times actual hours, magkamukha lang yan, 7,000. Standard rate, 7.5. Tandaan mo, class, pag sinabing standard hours, parang standard quantity kanina. This is based on actual output times. Okay, yung actual output natin is 2,750. Kailangan mo doon ng 2.5 hours per unit. So, 2,750 times 2.5. Okay, so sige, let's compute. 7.9 times 7,000. 7.9 times 7,000. We have 55,300 here. Okay, 7.5 times 7,000. 7.5 times 7,000. 52,500. 52,500. This one, 2,750 times 2.5 times 7.5. We have 5,156 or 5,156 2.5. So, gawin na lang natin 5,156 5,156 Let's compare. 55,300 minus 52,500. 55,300 minus 52,500. We have 2,800. Okay. 52,500 minus 51,563. We have 937. Okay. So, is it favorable or unfavorable? Mas mataas to than this one? Unfavorable. Mas mataas to than this one? Unfavorable. So, lahat na na-compute natin, unfavorable sila. Labor rate variance, 2,800. unfavorable. Okay, labor efficiency variance, 937, unfavorable. These are your final answers. Okay, good. Okay, let's go to problem number 2. Problem number 2 is about overhead variance. Let's take a look at the requirements. Compute the following: total overhead variance, controllable, uncontrollable, spending, efficiency, volume, variable overhead spending, fixed overhead spending, variable overhead efficiency, volume using 4-way approach. Okay, meron tayong 3-way, 2-way, 1-way. So, lahat yan ang nasa atin sa problem na to. Okay, so pag ganyang class, huwag kang magugulat, huwag kang mabibigla. Kayang-kayang sagutin niya nung formulas na tinuro ko sa inyo earlier. Okay? So, if you recall, ito yung mga tinuro ko sa inyo. Ayan. Since ako, kabisado ko na yan, syempre kayo, dapat i-memorize nyo din siya. Kasi di ba ang advice ko sa inyo, sa first na gagawin mo sa exam mo, okay, sa school or sa board exam, isusulat mo na agad yung formulas sa first page pa lang, okay? Sige, so let's see. We have here actual, we have BAA, BASH, and standard. Actual, BAA, BASH, standard, we have variable here, we have fixed here. Okay? Lahat mo na actual. Actual variable rate times actual hours plus actual fixed rate times actual hours. Okay, next. Standard naman. Standard variable rate times standard hours plus standard fixed rate times standard hours. Next, lahat naman ng budgeted. Budgeted fixed costs, budgeted fixed costs. AH, we have AH here. SH or standard hours, we have standard hours here. Okay, and we know, nasa gitna, lagi siyang standard variable rate. Okay, so done na tayo sa formulas. Ang gagawin lang natin, ipa-plug in lang natin yung figure sa given. Okay, so basahin natin yung given. Pinnacle Company uses a standard cost system for its production process and applies overhead based on direct labor hours. The following information is available for the month when Pinnacle made 4 or 5 units. Okay, yung 4 or 5 units na yan, ang tawag natin dyan, actual output. Okay, so meron tayong given dito na standard, direct labor hours per unit, variable overhead, fixed overhead, budgeted variable, budgeted fixed, and then meron tayong actual, direct labor hours, variable overhead, fixed overhead. Alright? So gagawin lang natin dyan, ipa-plug in lang natin yung mga nasa formulas natin. Tama ba yung formulas ko? Ma-check nga sa Pinnacle app. Oo, tama naman pala. Buti na lang may Pinnacle app ako. Aside sa sobrang accessible, kumpleto lahat ng subjects at references na kailangan ng isang BSA student. This app is equivalent to at least having 20 plus accounting books. San ka pa? Check the link in the description box below. Okay, so sige. Unahin muna natin yung actual variable rate times actual hours plus actual fixed rate times actual hours, or yung actual cost. Okay? So, pag tumingin ka dito class, makikita mo actual, merong direct labor hours, merong variable overhead, may fixed overhead. Since total na yung given sa atin, hindi mo na kailangan computein or alamin yung actual variable rate and actual hours. Kasi given na yan. Tama? So, lagay lang natin 26,250 and 38,000. So, lagay natin ulit dito, variable and fixed. Okay? 26,250 plus 38,000. Got it? Alright. So, okay na tayo sa first row. Next. Standard variable rate times actual hours. Nasaan yun? Standard variable rate. Yung actual hours natin, actual direct labor is 10,000. So, 1.75 standard variable rate. Actual hours natin is 10,000. 1.75 times 10,000 plus budgeted fixed cost natin class. Kung titingin ka dito, nandyan yung budgeted fixed overhead, 38,750. 38,750. And then may budgeted fixed cost din dyan. So, copy lang natin. And then, standard variable rate times standard hours. Meron tayong standard variable rate na 1.75. Tatandaan mo lang yung standard hours. Again, based siya sa actual output. Nasaan yung actual output natin? Ito. Kaya, mahalaga yan yung 4-5 na yan. So, 4.5, and then sabi dyan, DLRs per unit is 2.5. Ibig sabihin, class, yung standard hours natin, 4.5 times 2.5. Nakuha niyan? So, 4.5 times 2.5. 2.5. Okay. Next, ito. Standard variable rate. So, kopyahin ko lang yan. Times standard hours. So, kopyahin ko lang. 4.5 plus 2 times 2.5. Okay. Plus standard fixed rate natin. Standard fixed rate natin. Nasaan siya? Standard fixed rate. 310. Okay. 310 times standard hours. So, yun din siya. Standard hours. Ito rin siya. 4.5 times 2.5. Okay. So, compute na natin lahat. Get your calculators. 26,250 plus 38,000. Okay. 26,250 plus 38,000. We have 64,250. Okay. 64,250. 1.75 times 10,000 plus 38,750. 1.75 times 10,000 plus 38,750. We have 56,250. 56,250. Next. So, 4.5 times 2.5 times 1.75 plus 38,750. 4.5 times 2.5 times 1.75 plus 38,750. You get 58,437.5. Lagyan natin 58,438. Okay, 58,438. Okay, so 4.5 times 2.5 plus times 1.75 plus 4.5 times 2.5 times 3.10. Sige, so 4.5 times 2.5 times 1.75. M plus natin. And then 4.5 times 2.5 times 3.10. Okay, so ito nakuha ko. 54,562.5. Gawin natin siyang 54,563. Round up na natin. Okay, so let's compute this. Okay. 64,250. Pag nakuha mo yung 4 figures na yan, almost tapos ka na sa problem. 64,250 minus 56,250, you got 8,000. Okay, 8,000. Since mas mataas to than this one, unfavorable. 56,250 minus 58,438. 56,250 minus 58,438. 2,188. Okay, 2,188. Since this is lower than this one, favorable. 58,438 minus 54,563, you have 3,875. 3,875, mas mataas to than this one, unfavorable. Okay? Ang tawag natin dito, we have spending variance. This is your efficiency. And this is volume variance. Okay? Yung spending, pwede natin siya i-breakdown into two. Ito yung variable spending natin. Compute natin. So, yung difference nila. 10,000 times 1.75. Okay. And then, compare natin sa 26,250. Minus 26,250, 8,750. This is 8,750. Mas mataas yung taas than this one. So, this is unfavorable. Tawag natin dyan, variable spending variance. Okay. Fixed spending, 38,000 minus 38,750. Obviously, 750 yan. Since mas mababa to than this one, this is favorable. Ang tawag natin dyan, fixed spending variance. Okay. So, nga, tingnan natin yung mga questions. Number 1, total overhead variance. Pag sinabi total overhead variance, ito lang siya. Yung actual versus standard. Yung first, compare sa last. Okay. 64,250 minus 54,563. 64,250 minus 54,563. 54,563. You got here 9,687. 9,687. And 64 is larger than 54. Unfavorable. Answer dito sa total overhead variance is 9,687. Unfavorable. Got it? Okay. Controllable variance. Yung controllable variance class, kung naalala nyo yung kanina, ito siya. Controllable sa difference between yung this one, first and third. Uncontrollable, third and fourth. Okay? Sige. So, 64,250 minus 58,438. Sige. 64,250, yung first and third, minus 58,438, 5,812. Okay? 5,812, yan yung controllable natin. And unfavorable or favorable? Mas mataas to, then unfavorable. Next, uncontrollable variance, it's basically yung third and yung fourth. Okay? 58,438 minus 58,438 minus 54,563, you got 38,75. Okay? 38,75, it's unfavorable. As you can see, class, pag sinabi mong uncontrollable variance, equal din siya dito. Volume variance. Okay? So, uncontrollable is equal to volume variance. Okay? Ganun siya, ha? Uncontrollable. Pareho lang yan, no? Di ba yung volume variance natin, third and fourth. And then yung uncontrollable variance natin is also third and fourth. So, uncontrollable variance is also the same as volume variance. Kuha? Okay, spending variance. Na-compute na natin kanina. 8,000. Unfavorable. Efficiency variance. 2,188. Favorable. Volume variance. Again, ito siya. 3,875 or yun din yung uncontrollable natin. 2,875. Sorry, 3,875. 3,875 U. Variable overhead spending. Na-compute na natin kanina. 8,750 U. Fixed overhead spending, na-compute na natin, 750F. Variable overhead efficiency, nasan yung class? Yung variable overhead efficiency, ito siya. Ito siya. Variable overhead efficiency. Okay, yung variable component. Pero take note, class, na yung fixed component niya, magkamukha lang. So, ibig sabihin ko, ano yung difference nito? Ito rin siya, 2,188. Does that make sense? Kasi magkamukha lang ito eh. Okay, dito ko lagay, 2,188 F favorable. Okay? So, take note, class, since ito yung fixed, laging 0 yan kasi magkamukha, parehong budgeted fixed cost, there's no such thing as fixed overhead efficiency. Walang ganun. Pag overhead efficiency or efficiency, it's always variable. Bakit ulit? Because sa formula natin, kung mapapansin nyo, budgeted fixed cost versus budgeted fixed cost, laging 0 yan. So, there's no such thing as there's no such thing as fixed overhead efficiency variance. Okay? Take note, bakit tanong sa theory. Alright. So, pag saan mo efficiency, lagi siyang overhead. Volume variance, so inulit ko lang, pero four-way approach naman. So, again, kahit anong mo compute mo, na kahit three-way approach, kahit four-way approach, magkamukha lang yung volume variance mo. Okay? So, again, sagot mo din dyan is 3,875 U. Pinakita ko lang na kahit 3-way, kahit 4-way, wala tayong pakialam. Okay? Actually, hindi na natin pinansin yung mga 1, 2, 3, 4. Ginawa lang natin, sinulat natin yung formulas dito, linag in natin, kinumpare natin, pag mas mataas yung nasa taas, unfavorable, or favorable, the other way around. Pag mas mababa naman yung taas, then favorable. Okay? So, as you can see, class, ito lang yung alam natin, na-compute natin lahat ng requirements for overhead variances. Okay? Alright. Sige. So, syempre, nag-prepare din ako ng theories. Ayan, para kumpleto tayo. Ayan, para ma-master nyo yung variance analysis natin. Konti lang naman to. It's 7 items lang. Sige. So, let's go to theories. Okay. Number 1. A company controls its production cost by comparing its actual monthly production cost with the expected or budgeted or standard. Any significant deviations from the expected are investigated and evaluated as basis for corrective actions. The quantitative technique that is most probably used is, alam natin, it's the standard cost variance analysis. Okay? Number 2, a primary purpose of using a standard cost system is A, to make things easier for managers in the production facility. Pwede. B, to provide a distinct measure of cost control. Okay, that's correct. C, to minimize the cost per unit of production. Okay, not necessarily. Okay, yung pinaka-purpose, yung primary purpose natin is to evaluate cost. Okay, is to investigate and to take corrective actions. Yung tawag dun is cost control. Boy is the answer. Let's go to number 3. Of the following variances, the one that is most useful in assessing the performance of the purchasing department. Okay, sa purchasing department, ano kaya yung variance natin doon? If you recall, sa purchases natin or sa materials natin, pag prices yung kino-compare natin, ang tawag natin doon, materials price variance. So, yun yung para kay purchasing department. Kasi siya yung bibili. So, materials price variance yan. Boy is the answer. Materials usage variances are normally charged to. Ang materials usage naman, difference naman ng quantity yan. So, basically, kanino siya? Sa production. Tama? Hindi sa bumibili. Sa production, yung nagmamanufacture ng goods natin. Okay, letter A. Number 5, when a change in the manufacturing process reduces the number of direct labor hours, and standards are unchanged, okay, the resulting variance will be, okay, so tingnan natin, direct labor hours na-reduce daw. So, kahit di mo tignan yung formula, kung ma-reduce yung labor hours, alam mo, favorable agad yun. So, it's either C or D. Okay? So, labor hours, hindi naman rate yung hinahanap natin. Tama? And alam natin, pag labor hours, efficiency yun. Nakuha nyo, class? Pag rate, yun yung rate. Labor rate yun. Since dito, labor hours na pinag-uusapan natin, labor efficiency. Ang iba mong tawag doon is labor usage variance or labor efficiency variance. Dog is the correct answer. Got it? Next, a variable overhead spending is caused by, okay, tingnan mo natin yung formulas. Yung variable overhead spending, ito siya. Okay, same yung actual hours. Ang pagkakaiba lang, yung variable rate, yung isa actual, yung isa standard. Tingnan natin. A, using more or fewer actual hours than the standard hours. Hindi. Kasi, sa variable overhead spending, wala ka namang ginagamit na standard hours yan. Parehong actual hours. So, yung A, hindi na yan answer. Walang standard hours sa variable overhead spending. Paying a higher, lower average actual overhead price per unit of the activity based on the standard price allowed per unit of the activity base. That's correct. Okay, compare natin again, actual variable rate and standard variable rate. So, actual and standard. Okay, B is correct. Larger or smaller waste and shrinkage associated with the resources involved than expected. Oh yes, ibig sabihin lang yan, class, mas yung actual natin na ini-incur natin is mas efficient tayo. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, mas mababa yung rate na ini-incur natin at the standard. So, answer din yan. Answer for number 6 is dog. Okay, so dapat, class, kaya mo rin ma-interpret ano ibig sabihin ng mga variances. So, kanina, nag-compute lang tayo. Ito more of interpretation ng variances. Okay, and last one, the variance most useful in evaluating plant utilization. Okay, so ibig sabihin, class, ng plant utilization, basically, how many units yung napoproduce natin given our capacity or given our volume, given our fixed cost. Pag plant utilization, more of volume yan, class. Kasi pag tinitingnan mo yung formula, pag volume, yung variable component natin, magkamukha yan. So, ang kino-compare lang natin actually, class, yung fixed component. Okay? Kaya, uncontrollable din yung tawag dyan. Kasi hindi mo naman makakontrol yung fixed component. Okay? So, pag plant utilization, ang gusto natin malaman dyan, how many units ba yung napoproduce natin given our capacity? Okay? So, ang best measure dyan is overhead volume variance. Answer is dog. And sa volume variance, class, kung sa efficiency, there's no such thing as fixed efficiency. Sa volume naman, wala tayong tinatawag na variable volume. Lagi siyang fixed volume. Got it? Okay, so yun lang. Baka malito kayo. So, kaya clarify natin yan. Okay, so that's the end of our free tutorials. Thank you very much, class, for listening. That's the end of these free tutorials. Patikim pa lang yan. What if magkaiba yung materials purchased and materials used? Sir, paano mag-dispose ng variances at the end of the period? Di ba, sir, yung actual cost pa rin yung masusunod dyan? What is the easiest way to compute for materials mix and yield variance and labor mix and yield variance? Ituturo namin sa inyo lahat yan. May discussion tayo yan sa Pinnacle app natin. Subscribe now!